This is going to be what if Deku was a legendary Super Saiyan part 2. Now if you want to see part 1 of this, you're going to have to go to Phoenix Hokage's channel because he just uploaded part 1 and I'm following it up right now. Now, I'm pretty sure he left me off with them going back to class and heading home for the day. So I'm going to quickly go back to the picture. Now, we're going to start off when Deku was at his house. Now, as he's at his house, he goes for a run with Mina and Katsuka. Now, I'm pretty sure he mentioned that she secretes her acid to the point where it's slimy but doesn't melt anything. As she's on her run, she's pretty much working on her balance and trying to keep up with Deku and Katsuka as they're running normally. And Katsuka's training really focuses on strengthening her body to handle bigger and stronger explosions. Because in canon, every time Bakugo would go past his limits, he'd start to bruise and break his hands. Kind of like Deku when he did his finger flicks. But as they're on their run, they come across a villain a couple of thugs trying to kidnap a girl. Now, as Deku sees this, he runs over yelling, "Hey, stop that!" And as they turn around, they see a very toned high schooler. Well, I mean, he said high schooler, and for the entrance exams, whenever he said how far did you throw it in high school, I'm thinking that he meant middle school. But if not, it's college. So I'm pretty sure he can clear that up in part 3. So I'm going to say it's high school. And then they pull a gun to shoot at Deku. And it kind of goes the same way that it did in Dragon Ball Super when Goku stopped those bandits. And they shot him in his hand and it only bruised his hand a bit. And so Deku gets angry at this. And he goes to like the false Super Saiyan where he's like it's not shooting out from his body, but he got like a goldish glow around him. And as Deku grabs the guy by his face and slams him to the ground and holds him still, Katsuka and Mina take out the other 2 people there because they're all relatively strong for their age. They're like a pro hero's strength. And they have takedowns because Deku practices martial arts and fighting techniques, and he teaches it to both of them. And the cops come and they try to punish them for using their quirks. And Deku says he's quirkless while Katsuka and Mina say they didn't use their quirks. They used their physical strength. And the cops don't really believe this until they challenge Mina and Katsuka to an arm wrestle. I mean, like, there's no way that a cop's just going to believe you didn't use your quirk when you're high schoolers and you took down thugs. And so they challenge him to an arm wrestle, friendly one. And as soon as they start, they both beat the officers very, very easily. So the officers say, "Okay, we believe you," and they go off. And they just continue to run. Now, it's time for school to start. They went home. They went to their houses. They showered and got ready for school. They met up at the entrance of... they didn't go to the entrance of UA because, as in canon, it was completely and utterly crowded by media. So they went on some buildings and they jumped around. Well, them holding on to Deku because they don't have the physical strength to do that. Well, Katsuka can easily blast over, but she didn't she's jealous because Mina can't, so she has to hold on to Deku. So she just holds on to Deku. And Mina asks Katsuka, "Hey, can't you use..." Oh my god. "Hey, can't you use your quirk to get over this wall?" And Katsuka says, "Yes." She said, "Why aren't you?" And Mina says, "Why aren't you then?" Katsuka then replying by saying, Katsuka then replying saying, "Oh, I'm just tired," lying out her ass about it. She just doesn't want Mina to get ahead with Deku, which Mina probably already is because of the whole Broly and Chilai. Because if you don't get that reference, you're going to have to go watch the movie. I mean, like, if you didn't watch the movie, you're going to have to look it up on why they would be drawn to each other. I look up Broly and Chilai's past. Pretty sure whenever Deku saved Mina in part 1, they had that blank where Deku called Mina Chilai and Mina called Deku Broly. Now, this is a, like, universe, I'm not going to say it's universe 6. Let's just say it's like universe 30. Like a universe that was supposed to be erased but wasn't. And so it's like lost in time and lost in space. So nobody knows about it, not even the angels and Omni King. Because they thought they erased all the universes from 12 and up. I'm pretty sure it was from 12 and up. Or 13 and up. Something like that. So we're going to move on to whenever they get to class finally. After walking through the huge crowd. Now I'm going to say Deku's taller than he is in canon. He's not like that short, stubby, green-haired kid. He still keeps his green hair. So as Deku walks into class, he takes his seat, and as he senses a strong ki coming, as this is All Might, as All Might crashed through the door saying, "Come in like a hero, come into the door like a hero," like that. And everybody's going extremely happy about seeing All Might, that, like, pretty much simping over All Might. And Deku's not simping over him, while Mina and Katsuka are. Because Deku is not really a huge fanboy. He just knows the hero. He takes notes about them. And All Might says, "Well, everyone needs their hero suits, right?" And for some odd reason, Deku has a thought of having a hero suit like Broly's. If you don't know what Broly's hero suit is, let me quickly find a photo of it. Okay, this is what Deku immediately thinks of. And yes, he's still going to have the fur and everything like that. And for Mina, it kind of goes the same way. She has Chilai's outfit. I'm not going to look up Chilai's because that's boring. But I'm going to keep it on this picture for now. And so, Deku tells Mei Hatsune to make it like this. And make it where, like, it's going to be better than Broly's suit. Like, it can stretch out and stuff like that. But then Deku remembers how tight it was on his body and it was hard to move in. So he doesn't know how he remembers this or how he knows this. So he asked to get it with, like, the latex shirt that he had in the actual movie whenever he picked that guy up and started choking him because he was messing with with Chilai and that one little dude. I forgot his name. And so he wears that. As he walks out, all of the girls and men are looking at him because he's in like a full battle suit type armor. And he has the fur wrapped around his waist. And as Katsuka asks him about it, and he says he doesn't really know why, he just likes this a lot. And Nina sees this, and she has glimpses of Broly. And as Deku sees Mina, he has glimpses of Chilai. Now, as Katsuka stands between them and asks them what the hell are they staring at, and they come back to the sense and they say, nothing. Like that, as the heroes versus villains starts. Now, everything goes the same way as canon. People, whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. Except the Bakugo, Ida, Uraraka, Deku one. Instead, it's going to be more of Katsuka and Mina versus Deku and Momo, I guess. I'd say Momo. Just because I want them to be jealous about this and really want to beat Momo. Sorry, Momo. So we cut to the part where Momo and Deku are making a plan. And as Deku mentions that Kasuka's probably going to go after him. And as Momo asks why, and he says we kind of have a rivalry going on right now. And Momo says then Mina's probably going to stay back. And Deku straight up says no, she's not going to stay back. She's going to come for you. And this scares Momo because she knows how strong Mina actually is. And Deku says, don't worry, you'll be fine. And as mentioned in last part in Phoenix Hokage's video, Deku can control some of his ki. So it's like a minor physical enhancement. Like he's able to move a tad bit faster. It's not like the Super Saiyan, it's like it's like a Kaioken, almost. But it's like 0.5 of his strength, which is like, it adds like a quarter of his actual strength to his normal strength. So, Deku does this as he rushes through the building, going through walls and everything like that. And Momo is creating a grappling hook to go up the building. And as she's with Deku, she's creating this grapple hook. And Deku says, what's that for? And she says, to scale the building. And Deku says, that's no problem. As he picks up Momo on his back, as he kind of does that hook where he runs up the wall, like smashing his hand into the wall and going up it. Because Deku tried to make as much noise as possible at the downstairs. So they'd rush there. And as Deku and Momo went up and tried to find the bomb going down, and as Momo creates a sonic hearer, I'm pretty sure she did that one time in canon, to hear where they're at, and she says they're on the 4th floor, and they're heading down to the 3rd. And Deku asks how many, she says both of them. My bad, I'm supposed to be doing the voice, but I haven't been able to do that yet. So, as they head down there to the 4th floor, the bomb's not there. The bomb is below them. They think it's below them, which it is. So, as Deku is walking down, he trips and falls into some very, very sticky acid. And I'm not sure if she can actually make it sticky or not. Or she can make it slimy and make it corrosive. And so as Deku falls into the sticky acid, he can't really move all that well. But then he does his ki control and puts up like a ki barrier. I'm gonna say he can do like a weak ki barrier, which is actually pretty strong in My Hero Academia world. I'd say it's about it can take like a quarter of All Might's strength to break, which is pretty strong in general. So we move on to Deku putting up his ki barrier and getting out of the acid. And as he carries Momo through it bridal style, she's really embarrassed. And I'm not sure if y'all want this ship to be Katsuka Deku, Mina Deku, or both. Me and Phoenix Hokage are letting y'all decide because we don't really know. Because it's kind of in between for us. Like, we could go Katsuka, but then there's the Mina looking like Chilai from the movie. But then there's the whole female Bakugo having a crush on him in childhood and all the way up. So we're kind of in between on that. So we're going to end up letting y'all decide. So as Deku's carrying her across the acid bridal style, Mina and Katsuka come up to see this, and they're 1,000 degrees pissed to see Deku carrying Momo like bridal style. And so Bakugo screams out, "What the hell are you doing, you damn nerd?" Like that. And Mina doesn't even say anything. She shoots corrosive acid at Deku. And Deku dodges this. And it melts through the floor. And this is when All Might says, "Young Ashido," I'm pretty sure that's her last name. Or her first name, probably. One of the two. "Young Ashido, that was too dangerous. Don't do that again." As Mina says, "He'd been fine," like that. And this is what Kasuga looks like. Let me find. Yeah, this is what Kasuga looks like. And Mina looks the same way as Canon. But this is what Kasuga looks like. And I don't like the short hair female Bakugos because it's just like normal Bakugo with boobs. That's it. That's really all it is. And Deku's taller than her. Let's say Deku's like 6'3". Nah, 6'5", and she's like 5'8". So he's way taller than her. She's what? Mina's like what? I'd say about 5'9", so they're almost the same height. And Momo is taller than both of them at 6 foot. So Deku's taller than all three of them, carrying her bridal style. And as Deku dodges with Momo in his hand, he kind of slips on the slimy acid that Mina had on the ground and smashes his face into the ground while dropping Momo. And this is when Momo kind of creates like a rubberish material that's like non-stick to get out of the acid. And so Mina is easily able to run across this like slippery acid because of her training with Deku and Kasuga. Now, Kasuga's mad at Deku while Mina's mad at Momo. So they're blaming Momo and Deku for doing this. And so as Kasuga gets close to Deku, she screams out, "Die, you damn nerd!" And this hits Deku like in the chest, sending him flying back a bit. Now I'm pretty sure he mentioned in the last video Deku has that huge scar across his right eye going down. But he can still look through his eye. It didn't really blind him, but it could have easily. So she has small amounts of PTSD, so she doesn't throw explosions in his face at all. As this hits Deku in the chest, Deku gets launched, sent through 2 walls, and Kasuga and Deku are now fighting. Deku easily has the advantage on her, so she in physical strength, so she keeps her distance, launching explosions and small AP shots. She isn't able to launch bigger AP shots or spam them or rapid fire like she did in the Heroes Rising movie. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Phoenix Hokage about that, whether we should include the movies that they added or not. But I doubt he wants to do the manga because that's like a huge spoiler to everything. And before I forget to mention, y'all should go subscribe to Phoenix Hokage. He's a really nice dude. Like, and seriously nice. And I actually really like his channel, his videos. They're like intriguing to listen to. And it's very, very interesting on how he, like, plays it all out. So, as they're fighting, Deku's just getting bombarded with explosions. And so, he goes into his key control form, where it's like the yellow aura around him, but not coming off of his body. And Kasuga doesn't know what this is, as Deku zooms straight in front of her. Well, not like disappear. She sees him moving, but it was too fast for her to react. And as Deku gets a punch in her stomach, sending her flying into a wall. And he follows us up with a couple of combos, like uppercuts and leg sweeps, as he beats Bakugo a bit, as he goes to help Momo, who is like struggling against Mina because Mina is shooting small amounts of corrosive acid, enough to like melt clothing. So Momo is hero suits the same as Canon. Kasuga's look like this. except without the huge gauntlets. It's like an advanced version where it's small. It goes up to her elbow, and it's able to do the same effect. So as Deku is hurrying off to help Momo, he gets shot in the back with that huge explosion Bakugo did in canon. Now All Might sees this go straight into Deku, as it pretty much destroys his back. Or now he's like almost shirtless with a massive burn on his back. And as All Might says, "Young Bakugo, that was way too dangerous. Never do that again." And so yeah, I'm punishing both of them because like why not? So Katsuka's like, "Yeah, whatever, All Might," like that. Now she's still her cocky self, but not when it comes towards Deku and Mina because they're like the best of friends. And she's not cocky towards Deku because she knows Deku could easily defeat her in a one-on-one fight. So let's just say that Momo is defeated by Mina because Deku wasn't able to get there because he was sent through like 4 walls. And Deku's not getting angry about this, he's actually getting excited because of his Saiyan genes. And I'm pretty sure he mentioned in the last one he's half angel, half Saiyan. So he's not human. Well, in this world, Saiyans are like an evolved version of humans, but Deku's the first. Let's just put it like that. And so Deku is actually getting excited because he likes fighting strong people. And because he's a Saiyan, he's attracted to Katsuka because of her strong-willed personality. Just like how Deku and Vegeta, not Deku, well, Goku and Vegeta are both attracted to Chi-Chi and Bulma, who are like really fucking feisty. Like, they're like in the same world. I'd be terrified of that relationship. Like, no. And so they move on. Deku is shirtless now. And Katsuka's blushing a bit because she sees how muscular he is. Because he never really is around her without a shirt on. And as Mina comes down to help her, she sees this and she immediately turns around and starts fanning her face and preparing herself for like a minute and a half. As Deku is standing up, getting pumped. Because he's really excited about this. I don't know if he wants to give Deku like all the Super Saiyan transformations before we end the series, but I doubt so. So I'm not gonna give him a like anything over Super Saiyan 1 because I could cover the USJ. This probably gonna be a 45-minute video because the USJ I'm really hyped for because you already know what's probably gonna happen in the USJ. So we're gonna move on to when Deku is now 1v2ing Mina and Katsuka. And as Deku says, I've been really itching for this fight. Like that with a smirk on his face. And Katsuka and Mina both smile and look at each other as they rush Deku. Katsuka and Mina know Deku's fighting style, so they're able to predict some of his moves. But they get hit from time to time, and whenever they get hit, and so whenever Deku hits them, it does damage, but Deku's holding back so he doesn't, like, break bones and injure them very, very seriously. But it's still enough to, like, cause bruises for, like, a couple days or so. And so Deku gets sent through some walls, and then Katsuka sends him up. And this sends him up into the bomb room. Now, during this, Momo has been, like, healing, so Deku drags the fight outside of the room. And as they're fighting for, like 10 more minutes, Deku is slowly, like, charging up a bit. So, as Deku dragged the fight outside, they're outside fighting for, like, a couple minutes. And they're slowly starting to see, like, a greenish aura coming around Deku. And his eyes are slowly but surely turning yellow a bit. And this is when, out of nowhere, they hear, "Hero Team wins!" like that, because Momo had already got healed up. and touch the bomb. And Katsuka and Mina are pissed off, disappointed, and curious at the same time. And the reason why they're curious is because they've seen a greenish aura and like yellowish eyes coming from Deku. So this is when the heroes versus villains ends, and all the other fights go the same way. And after all the fights are done, Katsuka and Mina go up to Deku and they ask him, Hey, what was that greenish aura and the whole yellow eyes things about? And Deku, confused, asking them what do they mean? And they're surprised about this, so they say, never mind. And so they leave, as Deku goes back into the change room and changes out of his hero suit. And a couple days go by of Deku just working out and training. And now we skip to the day of the USJ. Now, Mina and Bakugo, as Aizawa comes in, telling them to get ready, they're going on a trip. And they're all like, oh, yay, a field trip. And then this is when oh, yay, a break and a field trip. This is when Aizawa was like, who the hell said it was a break and a field trip? Like that, as they all shut up. And this is when he says that they're going to the USJ, and they're confused about what the USJ is. And this is when Aizawa says you'll be practicing saving people. And so, on the bus to the way there, after everybody was complaining about that, and Aizawa did his thing where his hair goes up and his eyes turn red and he got that red aura, he's like, are there any more complaints? Like that, as everyone shuts up. On the busway there, Sue goes into her thing, like asking everybody about their quirks, and says that Deku's quirk mainly focuses about his strength, doesn't it? So is it like a physical enhancement quirk? And Deku, because Deku was drinking something, he spits up a bit of it, coughing. And Katsuka and Mina both look freeze and start like sweating a bit. And as Deku says, yeah, something like that. And she asks what the name was, and Deku immediately starts and just froze and just starts stinking as hard as he can. And I must say his fake quirk is going to be called Kaioki. Yeah, Kaioki. Let's just call it Kaioki, because the Kaioken increases their physical strength in the Dragon Ball Z series. So let's just say he calls it the Kaioki. And some odd miracle, they took this as an actual answer. And Mina and Katsuka look at each other with relief and then look at Deku. And they ask him, what the hell is Kaioki? And Deku's like, I don't know, it was just the first thing I came up with. Like that. And as they arrive at the USJ, Deku feels some ki bundled up in one spot. As they go inside, and Deku doesn't say anything, but he's still looking at the middle. And as Aizawa asks him, what's he staring at? And Deku says, I don't know. He says, I don't know, Mr. Aizawa. I just feel some type of strange aura coming from the middle of the spot. And as Deku said this, a portal opened up. And as a whole bunch of villains walked out, this being like 2 times more than there were in canon. I think there was like a couple hundred in canon. Was there a couple hundred in canon? Let's just say an even 1,000 thugs and a couple of high-tier villains in there from here and there. Like 5 high-tier villains and like 995 low-class thugs. And the Nomu hasn't came out yet, and this time the Nomu is going to be the same way, but stronger. So it's like meant to 100% kill All Might no matter what. And in this one, All Might has not found a successor. And if y'all want like, y'all want Katsuka to have off one for all, or Mina to have one for all. If not, I'll just probably end up giving it to Miria because that was his like second choice after Deku, before Deku. So we're gonna, as Kirishima says, whoa, they even got real villains for us too. Aizawa and Deku both say those aren't fake villains. And Aizawa looks at Deku and asks, how does he know? He says he feels an intense amount of killing intent. So as Aizawa jumps down, he starts doing his badass scene. I'm not even finna lie. Like, I'm questioning how the fuck Aizawa is like that skinny whenever he was fighting. But whenever we cut to whenever he's not in his hero suit, dude's buff as fuck. But it doesn't even look like he was buff whenever he was fighting. Now, me thinking that could easily been Deku if Deku actually trained because he didn't have a quirk. Like, Deku was just dumb. Like, why not train his body? So, as Deku doesn't jump in, he's watching as Aizawa is beating the shit out of them. And as this is whenever the portal comes by. And this teleports everyone except Mina and Katsuka because, let's just say, Kurogiri had a limit and he didn't really do that big where he opened up a whole bunch of them. He opened up like one big one and spread it around. Sue and Mineta go over to the boat with Deku. Hold on, give me a second. So as Sue and Mineta were with Deku, Deku tells them his plan and all that. As Deku just says, we're just going to jump over there. As he picks Mineta and Sue up and just hops over the water. And all the villains out in the water are like, what the hell? What is that kid? What is his quirk? Is he a grasshopper? Like that. And Deku gets there as he sees the Nomu beating the shit out of Aizawa. And he goes into fight with his ki control as a light yellow. And Deku's is at the physical strength of the Nomu. But let's say his strength is like, the Nomu strength is like Broly's. It's like, the more the Nomu fights, the stronger it gets. So as like a couple minutes go by, Deku's now being overpowered. As he's being pushed back and destroyed. This is when the Nomu grabs Deku by the throat and slams him into the ground as the Nomu starts beating down on Deku. This is when Mina shoots acid on the Nomu, destroying the Nomu's body as it just regenerates. And then Katsuka blowing the Nomu into pieces, but only like blowing half of his body away, it regenerates. And it still continues to beat down Deku because it only sees Deku as a real threat. And this is when Katsuka goes to reach for her grenade thing. And as she goes to pull the pin, the Nomu senses a bigger threat than Deku at the moment. And this is whenever she punches Katsuka and Mina both, sending them flying. And this is when Deku's eyes turn immediate yellow. And his body and this greenish aura starts forming around him as Deku looks like this. Now, Deku looks like this. As he bulks up, he's no longer with that calmish smile. He's looking exactly like he is in the picture. He is pissed. Now, Deku begins to utterly beat down on the Nomu. And Mina and Katsuka are seeing Deku like this, angry. But he's still in, like, semi-control. So he's not, like, going complete berserk and just beating the shit out of everything. So now, this is when Deku beats down the Nomu for, like, 30 minutes straight, non-stop. And he doesn't realize that the Nomu is gradually getting stronger. So, as this is happening, the Nomu is beyond the strength of All Might. Like, the Nomu can finger flick All Might in the head and immediately kill him. Now, as the fight goes on, Deku's getting angrier and angrier towards the Nomu because the Nomu keeps pushing him back. And this is when sparks, like greenish yellow sparks, come off Deku, as Deku's hair is flashing yellow. And Mina hasn't seen this ever since she was saved by Deku. So as she runs in to help Deku, the Nomu kicks her in her leg, breaking her leg to the point where you can see the bone, and this infuriates Deku. Now, give me a second. Now, this is what completely sets Deku off, as Deku's hair turns complete yellow, an explosive green aura just destroys almost everything around him as he rises up like this, flying. And Deku just looks at the Nomu like this, complete and utter anger, as his chest, as the top of the UA gym uniform, I think it was, because nobody was in their hero suits, completely burst. Deku's hair is yellow, not green like it is right now. And this is when Deku throws a key ball for the first time, and this completely disintegrates the lower half of the Nomu, to the point where it's going to take like a couple minutes for it to regrow, because unlike Kasuga and Mina, Deku obliterated the cells in that part so it wasn't easily able to regenerate. And Deku puts the hurt on the Nomu, like completely and utterly bodying the Nomu. And this is whenever Shigaraki tries to, as like a couple minutes go by, as Deku just beating down the Nomu, and the Nomu is like, now as Deku is literally bodying the Nomu, he's losing his mind, because at this point Deku is barely in control. Like, he can control whether or not he's like trying to kill or not, but he can't really control his body. He can control his urge to murder. So Deku is not trying to kill the Nomu, which is a downside to him because he's still that kind person. Now, this is when the Nomu is immediately getting stronger, and Deku's getting madder and confused because the Nomu keeps getting stronger as it fights, and he starts to piece together that if he doesn't end the fight soon, it's going to be stronger than he is. Now, during this, a couple of thugs jump Mina and Kasuga, injuring them a bit. And this is whenever Shigaraki decays parts of like their elbow, like he did to Aizawa. And this is whenever they pass out. And this is when, kind of like how it went down in this movie where Frieza got his Nobel Prize for acting. Like, Broly, look, your father was hit by a stray energy blast. Like that. And as this happens, Deku looks over to see Mina and Kasuga laying on the ground, passed out and bleeding from like almost everywhere, as he grabs his head and he starts yelling at the top of his lungs, ah! Ah! And this is whenever it turns from a yell to a huge roar, and this is what Deku's doing. Now, Deku's aura is flashing pink. His hair is turning purplish, well, a very light purple. Everything around him is being destroyed. And this is whenever Class 1A and Aizawa look at Deku as he's in this form right here, raging, grabbing his head. And whenever he's finally stopped screaming at the top of his lungs, Deku looks at the Nomu. Deku looks at the Nomu as he's flying like this, with extreme killing intent. Like, he has no control anymore. He's lost his mind. As Deku, as like in both Broly and KO moments, when they went to the rage mode, they just started shooting off ki blast everywhere, destroying everything around them. And this kills like a couple villains and stuff like that. Kurogiri and Shigaraki see this and they dipped. They're like, fuck no. They see how strong this kid is and they are dipping, bro. They ain't fucking with this kid. Now, they dipped, and this is when Class 1A is evacuating because Deku's destroying everything. And this is whenever like almost like the Ultra Instinct area where he shoots up, and Deku does like the energy ball but pink that Broly did that destroyed the Antarctic part of the world and turned it into a volcanic. He did that and threw it down at the Nomu, but the Nomu was able to dodge this because it's as strong as his green form, so it's not going to easily die like that. So it's healing, and Deku doesn't give it the time of day at all. Like, Deku is full-blown on kill mode right now. Now, as they're outside, Momo and Mina begin to wake up, and they ask what's happened as they see Deku in a pink form, ripped, complete and utter anger. He is so angry that they can literally feel the heat coming from him. Now, this heat is almost like Ultra Instinct, but it's not melting things. It's hot. It's like warm, like a fire type warm. So, as Mina and Kasuga wake up to see this, they can't really move at the moment. And Recovery, let's just say, for plot reasons, Recovery's girl there, and as she heals them up enough for them to walk, as Deku charges up a armor, not one, what was it called? An eraser cannon, as he threw the Nomu up, and he charges up through his mouth, and he launches it, and this kills the Nomu entirely. Now let's just say, because Shigaraki dipped with Kurogiri only, Deku goes on a killing spree. He is completely murdering every single villain that comes across him, like shooting ki blasts into them, smashing their heads into the ground. And All Might shows up and tries to fight Deku because he thinks Deku is a villain. As he runs up to fight Deku, Deku catches his fist and grabs All Might by the face. And because he's in a rage state, he can only growl and scream. He's like, ah! Like that, and just slams All Might into the ground. Now, All Might is knocked out unconscious, but he doesn't drop out of his buff form because he hasn't found a successor yet. So he hasn't used much of his time, and this is when Kasuga and Mina get over to Deku, and they jump on Deku, and Deku puts his hands up into ki balls and almost shoots them at him as he slowly calms down and passes out. Now, I know y'all may hate me for this cliffhanger, but this is where I'm going to leave it off. If you guys want to see part 3 of this, you got to go to Phoenix Hokage's channel. I'm pretty sure he'll have it uploaded by either tonight or this afternoon or tonight. I doubt he's going to wait an entire day to do it, but show him some love. Go subscribe, like his videos. They're really good, honestly. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and this is where I'll be leaving this off. Thank you for watching.